my clarification is it's only as it relates to this report. So there's a waiver of any of these privileges is only with respect to the specific thing being provided.
All right, I'm not going to argue. Okay, motion and a second, release the
Mayor?
report. City,
I would like to make sure
Counsel.
that my item that I added in there, which was the total cost of the investigation, would the maker of the motion be amenable to that?
Yes.
Thank you.
yeah, that's fine. And I think now this does set a precedent for other investigations as well. So, and I want to tell the public that the council majority voted to have it on these meetings, knowing, these are busy meetings, but that was the council majority's will at the time. So city
And the
clerk.
agenda is, Madam Mayor, don't blame the council. Agenda is finalized way ahead of the time. Now see this again,
City
another
clerk,
political
excuse me,
topic.
Raj, stop, please.
Yeah, you
Stop.
accused us, madam.
Stop. I didn't, I said, whatever. City clerk.
I had some comments.
Well, I'm calling for the question, city clerk. Everybody's had multiple times to talk.
I haven't spoken about this.
I appeal the chair then.
Vice Mayor Park?
So, and I hear, and I actually commiserate with the people in the audience because I've been there many times. But I think it's very important that the people in the audience, maybe this is the first time you've been here, you haven't seen the behavior of this council, that you understand what the problem is. I mean, I think one of the problems that we have is we have a number of people here who they accuse because they know one thing, that when you make an accusation, you can do a PRA, you can do a Public Records Act request, and you can see what the accusations are. But when it comes to the investigations and the findings, you can't get those. And because you can't get those, you can't learn about, well, how many of the accusations were actually real accusations? How many of the accusations were actually sustained? How many of the accusations were actually just false accusations because, I mean, I've said this many times, politics has a very bad reputation for a very good reason, which is you make an accusation because you know people can't find out what the investigations are. So I can accuse any one of these people every single day of doing something bad, and at the end I can ask you, why would you talk to any of these people that have 100 accusations against them? And any rational person would say, well, even if only a fraction of those accusations was sustained, that's a really bad thing. Nobody would think that every single one of the accusations that was made was a lie. But this is exactly why we need this kind of transparency. I understand and I worry about, disclosures, public disclosures, because it is a big thing. But at the same time, we need a tool to counter pure accusation, the political strategy of simply making accusations. We've had Councilmember Watanabe, her behavior, I'll tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I've had her yell out loud, stop harassing me.
Vice Mayor Park, please stay on the issue of the releasing the report. There's a lot of people that would like to speak under public presentations.
It is about the impressions that people give, and this is the tool, this is how they do it. You would think if somebody said, stop harassing me, that they were being harassed. And I'll tell you what the harassment was. Today, it was, I said, hello. Last week, I said, hello, Councilmember Watanabe, how are things? And when you hear the response, which is, stop harassing me, you would like to think that we said something a little bit more serious than hello. But that didn't happen. So I will stop that, but you need to know what this is. If this is the first time you've been here, I would say, don't educate yourself, don't look back at the things, but you have to understand what happened previously, and you have to understand what the behaviors are to see this. We can't actually read that. I will go for the vote.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I couldn't see that far. Okay, I'm calling for the question now. All right, City Clerk.
Councilmember Watanabe.
Yes.
Councilmember Shahal.
Yes.
Councilmember Hardy.
No.
Vice Mayor Park.
Yes.
Councilmember Jane.
Yes.
Councilmember Becker.
Yes.
Mayor Gilmore.
Yes, and that passes 6-1. Thank you. I'm going to ask for a 5-minute break, and City Clerk, if you could load up the cards. And we're going to go for at least another hour. We've been here since 4 o'clock, and so is our staff. So 5-minute break, please. Thank you. If I could ask the council members to come back to their seats, please. One, two, three, there's four of us. All right, we're going to start back with public presentations. And I'm going to start calling names of those, hopefully, that are here in the chambers first. We're going to start with Ella Ovadia, followed by Arnan Amir, Mohammed Sam, Omar Zarka. Any here this evening? I'll start it again. Ella Ovadia, Arnan Amir, Mohammed Sam. You've already spoken, I think, so we don't allow multiple people to speak. But thank you anyway. I'm sure they would have appreciated it. Mohammed Sam, Omar Zarka, Lamar Sam, Milad Abo, Hannah Barnev, Jasper Robledo, every time someone's moving, I'm like looking. Hello, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? What is your name, please? Is
name
it
is Jasper
Jasper?
Robledo.
Very good, thank you. Welcome, Jasper.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I've heard many people state that this is an international matter. International or not, if we have the power to advocate for and help those experiencing unimaginable suffering, then why not do it? I'm not going to pretend like I know the ins and outs of our political system. I'm here because I'm a human being. Before I came here, I saw a video. Do you know when babies are learning to speak and their parents encourage them to say their first words? This woman was talking to her baby, encouraged them, say mama, say mama. The next part panned to children amongst the collapsed hospital screaming for their mothers. I wish I could play that sound for you right now. It's been playing in a loop in my head for 5 hours. The scream of those children are not something that can be scripted. These babies are not terrorists. Israeli Defense Forces telling us, Palestinian people are showing us. I can't even believe that I'm having to come up here trying to convince you that Palestinian people are human and that we should help them, that all children have a right to life. Please put a ceasefire resolution on the next agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohammed Asaf? Mohammed Asaf? What's that? Angelica Amir? Angelica? Wendy Greenfield? Wendy? Ali E? Ali, initial E? Pardon me? No, no. Paz Brill? Paz? Oh, yay. Welcome.
Logan, I came here tonight to share my daughter's shocking experience at the Valley Fair Mall on Black Friday, a day after Thanksgiving, when a mob of hundreds of protesters walked into the mall, totally surprising her and her teen friends. As a mom, I found this potentially unsafe for our kids, and I asked that any such demonstrations only be allowed with advance notice to the public. I hope you can understand. In addition, while listening to others in this room, I feel I must also add the following. As you already know from the budget agenda item, I pay property taxes in Santa Clara, and I do so for the benefit of Santa Clara. As the elected officials of this city, and this city alone, your responsibility lies with the city of Santa Clara, and Santa Clara only. I've done some research while waiting here, and found that San Jose's policy does not allow for it to have any resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Hiddleman? Michelle, please come forward, followed by Jilly Yahalom. If you want to queue up, welcome.
Thank you. I've worked with community college students in the city of Santa Clara for over 27 years. I care about Muslims and non-Muslims in Santa Clara who identify or sympathize with Palestinians. I care about Jews and non-Jews in Santa Clara who identify or sympathize with Israel. I'm here to implore the City Council not to consider any resolution regarding the Israel-Gaza war. Any resolution from the city of Santa Clara calling for a ceasefire would only further divide this community and would likely have unintended consequences of increasing anti-Semitism in this community. Such a resolution would diminish this council in the eyes of large numbers of its constituents. I have seen increasing levels of misinformation being distributed in Santa Clara that deny Israel's right to exist, misrepresent the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians, and glorify Hamas's actions. A resolution by the City Council on this issue can embolden people doing those activities which are damaging to our community. I ask you to consider.
Thank you. Jilly,
That's me.
welcome.
Hello, my name is Gili Yalom, citizen and a mom of 2 young kids. These are confusing times where we're hearing in the streets demonstrators calling for a ceasefire and intifada at the same time. It's as weird as pressing on the gas and brakes of a car at the same time. Seems like there want ceasefire in Gaza and intifada in the rest of the world. I'm here today to support you, our council members. You are in an impossible situation where every statement you will make you hurt the city residents, either Muslims or Jews, and therefore the right thing to do is not to alienate any community. At the end of the day, we need to have good neighbors relationship for the sake of this city and country. As our city officials, please focus on building a thriving and safe community for all of us and understand that many of us don't feel safe. Make sure your decision is preserving the city's social fabric and therefore put your resident safety first. Thank you.
Thank you. Norman Husseini, please come forward, followed by Mimi. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Naman. I'm a resident of this county and I work in Santa Clara. I have a 5-year-old special needs daughter. She's on a continuous supply of oxygen and is tube fed. She goes to a special needs school which is poorly funded, has had to reduce her student intake and resources because they didn't have enough funds, while our federal tax dollars are being used to fund foreign wars instead of supporting state education systems. If my daughter was in Gaza today, her oxygen concentrator would have no power. Her feeding pump would run out of batteries within 24 hours. As a parent, I'd have no hope. I wish such hopelessness on nobody. I'm asking the city of Santa Clara to propose a ceasefire resolution because our city is important. What we say affects California, what we say affects America and the world. I encourage the respectable council members to call for peace and call for a ceasefire in Gaza. Wars are a lazy solution, and we're in Silicon Valley. Let's not be lazy, let's be better. And let's use our tax dollars here instead of in foreign wars. Thank you.
Thank you. Mimi? Is Mimi here? Please. No, I'll get to that after. I don't see Mimi on either. No, I don't. Tali Arbin, followed by Ida Joseph. If you're here, welcome.
Hello. My name is Tali. I was born in Israel. Since the start of this meeting, we heard countless people accuse Israel of committing genocide. That is not true. The IDF is doing its best under impossible conditions. We also heard a few people denying that any atrocities have been carried out against Israelis on October 7th, when the truth is that that day represented the largest lynching of Jewish men, women, and children since the Holocaust. And the sad thing is, I actually do believe that the speakers believe what they say. As Sir Terry Pratchett said, a lie can run around the world before the truth can put its boots on. These are questions of fact, and these facts are knowable. That's why countries have State Departments, global analysts, and intelligence services. The city of Santa Clara has none of this. And that is why the Council should not pass a resolution on international affair and certainly not to those that rely on information contrary to the findings of all United States fact-finding agencies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I lost my place. Ida?
Yes. Hi. Thank
Hi,
you.
welcome.
I'm an American Israeli Jewish. My cousin Nir was murdered by a Hamas suicide terrorist in 2003. Many of my friends injured in the recent October 7 attack. I'm also a grandson of Holocaust survivors. We hear calls for ceasefire. I would like to remind everyone that there was a ceasefire up until October 6. The reason there is war today is because Hamas' horrific massacre that included killing of babies and rape of women. Hamas kidnapped innocent civilians, including a 10-month-old baby. Many of them are still hostage with no option for visit from the Red Cross. Among the hostages are US citizens. Calling for ceasefire is equivalent for letting Hamas to have the right to attack again and to leave hostages to die in Gaza. Your Jewish and Israeli citizens are also mourning and in pain. Please keep Santa Clara an inclusive city that is safe for the Jewish community and reject all the calls for such resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Karen Halperin? Lydia Baruch? Mikkel Bierman? Lerone Hakem? Welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name is Liron. I'm a Jewish Israeli-American resident of this wonderful Bay Area. I recently moved back here after spending 20 years in Israel, often fearing for my kids' lives under rocket attacks, stabbing sprees, and violent riots. My time in Israel taught me one thing: the conflict in Israel is far too complex for an easy solution. What's been fought over for decades cannot be solved with one-sided resolutions by truly well-meaning city councils in California. Instead of putting your energies into foreign affairs, I implore you to focus on what's brewing right here at home. Since the October 7th massacre, Bay Area Jews are afraid to speak our native language, and condemned for expressing solidarity with our 135 civilian hostages. Anti-Semitism disguised as anti-Zionism is rampant, and the Bay Area that I grew up in no longer feels safe. Please take a stand to de-escalate this tense situation and help your Jewish community members feel safe again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Veronica Palax? Henoch Raviv? Henoch? Neerit Strauss? Neerit? I'm going to go down names in case we can get people queuing up. Nala Mola? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Nirit. I am an American Jewish Israeli. I am also a Yemenite Jew whose family had to leave Yemen for religious safety and move to Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East. I am here to ask you not to put the ceasefire resolution on the agenda. How is it going to promote safety and tolerance here in Santa Clara? Folks are using words like genocide to shape narrative against Israel. Israel does not commit genocide. In 1948, 200,000 Arab population in the land of Israel. Today, 2 million in Gaza only. How is this genocide? To help heal and promote peace, I would encourage the Council to focus efforts on education and eradication of hate against Jews and all other communities here in Santa Clara, where your constituents live. You heard about October 7th ceasefire, and again, 2 weeks ago, a ceasefire as long as Hamas releases hostages. And you know what? Hamas broke it again. So if ceasefire is the goal, you know what the answer is. Release hostages, we'll stop the fighting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nala, welcome.
My name is Nahla Mola, and I'm a proud resident of Santa Clara. My parents have lived here for over 30 years. I am urging you all to quickly introduce a permanent ceasefire resolution, which is the bare minimum we can do. I grew up around so many Palestinians here in Santa Clara who were forced to escape of violence and genocide at the hands of European Zionists, claiming that because they're Jewish, they have a right to the murder and theft of Palestinian land, which, mind you, goes against the teachings of Judaism. We are witnessing one of the most gruesome forms of genocide known to humankind, with new weapons being tested on Palestinians as we speak, funded by our tax dollars, and we're watching it from our own screens. I have seen a video of a Palestinian child with his face peeled off, only able to moan in pain, who died by our funded weapons. I have seen fathers hold up their children's dead bodies, pleading that we put an end to the merciless killing. What I haven't seen is any evidence of rape or beheaded babies by Hamas, which keeps being mentioned in every council meeting I attend. Those who originally spread these lies rescinded their comments, admitting there's no evidence, yet it's still being used to justify this genocide against Palestinians, as we have seen in this very room. It's concerning that so many members that think that it's okay for the number of murdered civilians to increase. FYI,
Thank you.
Israel is bombing
Thank
the Israeli hostages
Thank
as
you.
well.
Greg Schneider. Lena. Ottoman Assad. And Tal Baseman. If you're here, you can queue up. Welcome.
Mayor Gilmore, respected council members. I'm a Santa Clara resident for over 30 years. I work here, I live here, I raise my kids here. I love the city. I'm also a Palestinian. I lived in a refugee camp. My family was evicted and displaced in 1948 and also again in 67. So we were traumatized twice, and I see the same thing in Gaza. Ceasefire will give a chance for peace. Ceasefire will give a chance to bury the dead, to give chance to feed, send food and water and medicine to the needy people of Gaza. What's happening to them is genocide. There is more bombs. There is equivalent to 3 atomic bombs that fall on Gaza, as it happens, as it was in the last 60-some days. Thank you.
Thank you. Tal, followed by Allah Dean or Abida Bibi. Welcome.
Hi there. My name is Tal Weisman, Israeli, Jewish, and current resident of Santa Clara. I too have lost family members and friends on October 7th attack, and no supposed claims of occupation will justify what was done to my people that Saturday. With that statement in mind, this resolution for a ceasefire has no place in our city council decision. These calls for a ceasefire are only a means to try and delegitimize Israel's efforts of self-preservation. Even though it's presented and praised, as many say, as a humanitarian effort, it's in fact an attempt to stifle efforts for Israel to create a safe living environment for its citizens. Supporting ceasefire is only supporting empowerment of Hamas. Our city council should be focused on taking care of residents of the city and leave international affairs of forums in which they are relevant. We cannot support taking sides and thus making city council a debate platform for international issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Allah Dean, Abida Bibi. Are you either or? What's your first name? No, no. Okay, good. Abida, Revital. And then after that, Cynthia Levinson, if you want to queue up, welcome.
Good evening, council members. Good evening, Mayor. My name is Revital, and I am a parent of 2 children going in Santa Clara schools. I'm living in the community for the last 15 years. I respectfully ask that you do not put forward a resolution for a ceasefire. By the council taking a stand on a foreign matter, my fear is that it will increase the already rising tensions in our community. 2,000 years of history and culture cannot be learned in 2 months. As a result, we are seeing bias, often non-factual, and definitely not balanced agendas coming into our cities and our schools, making me and my family feeling unsafe in our own streets and in our own schools. If the council is considering to bringing forward this resolution, I urge you to look not only at what is in it and the supporters are saying, but as bias goes, what is not said.
as well. And so, thank you.
Thank you very much. Cynthia? Are you Cynthia?
Yes, I'm.
Oh, very good. Welcome.
My name is Cynthia Levinson, and I am a concerned Jewish member of the community. If this council is considering making a resolution regarding this international issue, please put on the agenda a resolution for Hamas to unconditionally surrender and take responsibility for the murder and terror they unleashed on October 7th, 2023. Please note that Gaza had not been under Israeli occupation since 2005, and yet their government conducted this atrocious attack on Israel anyway. The only genocide here is that which is written in the Hamas Charter against Jews. I feel for everyone who has lost loved ones in this conflict. As its elected government, Hamas is the sole party responsible for the condition of the Palestinian people and the death of its citizenry. Hamas initiates attacks against Israeli citizens, babies, children, women, and the elderly, and then runs back to hiding places under and enmeshed within the Palestinian population, hospitals, mosques, schools, homes.
Thank you. Thank you. Irene Van? Elisa Gurman? All right, we have Elisa here, followed by Melinda Berlant. Very good. Welcome.
I promise I'm not talking for 14 minutes. Okay, I have 4 things to say. First, dying is bad, killing people is bad, and we all want everyone to stop killing each other. 2, no one is an expert on this complicated conflict. I worked at an organization that focused entirely on this policy issue. Experts who have testified in Congress told me how much they do not know. Most importantly, international affairs are entirely outside the purview of this city council. We were not informed of your international views when we elected you. You have no role in international politics. We elected you to serve our city, and you have better things to spend your time on. Ultimately, it's kind of just none of your business, so please stay in your lane. Lastly, my primary concern right now are the people living in imminent danger, the ones that I know and the ones that I don't, regardless of borders and our ideas. My best friend Margaret, my 2-year-old nephew Ephraim Shlomo in Israel, the Jewish teens I mentor locally who are being harassed at school by their peers and by adults. And I want to acknowledge that the collective trauma that all of our communities are experiencing right now is significant. We don't need to fight over who has it worse. This does affect our residents, but it's outside the scope of this government body.
Wow. Did that in a minute. All right. Melinda.
Hi, my name is Melinda Berlant. I've been a Santa Clara resident for 10.5 years. With all due respect, I urge you not to take up the topic of a ceasefire resolution. You are a local city government whose focus is and should remain on the borders of our city. This is a complex international subject. It is not something I want my city council and staff to spend valuable time discussing, analyzing, and making statements on that will have no direct impact on Santa Clara citizens. All this will accomplish is additional divisiveness in our city. We do not need more of that. Now is the time to come together as a community so we can work and live in peace, harmony, and acceptance. If my neighbors want to have their concerns and opinions heard on this matter, they should direct them to our congressperson, Ro Khanna. Thank you.
Thank you. Alana Rosenberg, followed by Esti Mizrahi. And Rabbi Eagle Rosenberg after that. Welcome.
Good evening. Once a year, we celebrate the miracle of light. Tonight is Hanukkah. We celebrate the power of light. We kindle the Hanukkah menorah, recalling the miraculous victory of our ancestors, rededicating our holy temple in Israel in the face of oppression and hate 22 centuries ago. Hanukkah celebrates the victory of truth over lies, quality over quantity, spirit over matter, few against many, right over might. This is the holiday of the miracle of light, of unity and benevolence for all. In Santa Clara, inclusivity, respect, and diversity, goodness and kindness for all people are not miracles. In my experience living here in 8 years, the spirit of Hanukkah and benevolence for all people is status quo. May God bless each of you with courage and clarity to continue being a beacon of light to illuminate the city of Santa Clara, to protect the spirit of one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana. Esty, followed by Rabbi Eagle.
Okay, hi. I'm Esty Mizrahi. I'm 19 years old. I'm coming from South City in Israel. I have been in Santa Clara for four incredible months as a Hebrew teacher, part of a Jewish education program. I just want to share with you how was my 7th October experience to me. As an observant Jew, I couldn't look at the news, but the faces of all of the surrounding was telling me the serious it is and that we were into it. That was my toughest hours in my life. As a Jewish young woman, I just wanted to make a clear statement. We need a ceasefire from 20 years of sirens, rockets, nights without sleeping, for sure. But the Jews have never chosen a war, not in 1967, not in 1973, but it's the same result every war. We are staying in our promised land by God, and we are still alive. Thank you. Am Israel Chai.
Thank you. Rabbi, followed by Will. If Will is here. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. I decided not to bring the 15-foot menorah today.
I remember
but
that.
An LED one. So firstly, I wanted to share, my deepest appreciation for all of the City Council. Each and every one of you have always been so kind and incredible. And I want to also express my deepest sympathy for anyone who is hurting. Peace is all we need in the world. Peace is what we need. I don't know exactly how that's going to come about, the TBT, but it's definitely very complicated. But of course, Hanukkah is a victory of light over darkness, and of course, kindness over hate. And this is our obligation, each and every one of us here. Each and every one of you are my brethren. I really am very, very privileged to be part of this community here in Santa Clara. And I'll end off with just lighting my little LED menorah to bring a little bit more light to this very exciting party. Okay, you guys saw it? L'chaim, everyone. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you very much. Nabilah? Will. Followed by Nabilah.
Sorry about that. I had to deal with a few
That's
emergency
okay.
calls. Okay.
Oh, so sorry.
First of all,
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you guys for having me here. I'm still disappointed that you guys didn't let us speak earlier, but I guess better late than never. So I'm just gonna get this too quickly. Please put a resolution for the ceasefire for next week's agenda. Please do make sure that the ceasefire addresses like the blockade that Kazans have been suffering, the shortage of humanitarian aid, the constant expulsions of people, the deaths of children, and not to mention that whole families have been killed. 97% of water is undrinkable. Over 50 Palestinian journalists have been killed by Israel. Much of the healthcare system in Gaza is gutted, and even supposed safe zones and routes that Israel is combating Palestinians to go through have been bombed. So yeah, we are asking for a ceasefire, and I do want to reassure that this and opposing anti-Semitism are not opposing goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Will. Nabilah? Nabilah?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Nabila, and I am a Santa Clara resident, born and working. I asked for the council to consider adding a ceasefire resolution. We are 2 months late to introduce a resolution, but it's never too late to speak up for the oppressed while oppression is still happening. We have people asking why we need a resolution if the matter is international. And the answer is everyone you're seeing here for the last few hours, because everyone cares enough to be here this late, even though we're all very tired. Because our community feels local government is a place to speak up when our federal government, who handles international affairs, is using our tax money to support the genocide of children, families, parents, and grandparents, and all community members. Our Representative Rohana has repeatedly called for a ceasefire. I ask that Santa Clara support it and add their voice to it. You must, because if to do nothing is worse than doing nothing at all. Please do not be silent.
Thank you. Naskeli Ahmad? Natal Jondi? Oh, Naskeli? I think everybody sits in the back. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to say a few things here. I won't gonna hold you more than you guys hold us. But anyway, nevertheless, I wonder, maybe history should repeat itself. Jewish and Muslim, they have lived together before. And they lived for a long time together. When Jewish has kicked out in European, in America, the first welcoming was a ruler of Sultan who welcomed the Jewish. We're not hateful Jewish. Anybody who here pretending like that, okay, the Jewish has been hated by Muslims, is so false. Imperialists from America and the oil fight should not be able to be deluded or confused about the history. So I'm asking you as a councillor, I fought for you, and I fought for you, and it's my district. And all of you representing us. It's my taxpayers. I've been 28 years in here, and that 28 years, every tax I pay is a drop and bomb, and I refuse to back down. Thank you.
Natal Jondi? Natal? Hekmat Nasiri? Hekmat? Nawal Lehman? Nawal? Sigal Traster? Sigal? Welcome.
Hello, esteemed members of the Santa Clara City Council and fellow residents. My name is Sigal Treister, and I stand before you today as an American Israeli and as a concerned resident of Santa Clara. I moved here 18 years ago, and I have 3 kids in the Santa Clara Unified School District. On October 7th, Hamas' vicious attack on Israel targeted civilians, murdering over 1,400 innocent civilians and taking over 240 hostages, 137 of which are still being held in Gaza. Israel is at war against Hamas, who have vowed to repeat this attack again. Calling for ceasefire will only strengthen Hamas, who will lead this to continued violence and bloodshed on both sides. We ask you not to take sides and ensure the safety of our community here in Santa Clara. Since October 7th, my 13-year-old daughter has experienced anti-Semitism and threats in the school and lost some of her best friends. My 9-year-old daughter is now afraid to speak Hebrew. I urge you to bring safety back to our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamir Resnat? Tamir? Dorit K? Dorit? Galit Perez? Galit Perez? Bill Kennedy? Bill Kennedy? As he's coming up. Sharat Lynn? Sharat here? Very good. Welcome.
Madam Mayor, council members, genocide, how do you get it? Well, the UN report of December 4th tells you how you get it. And I quote, 1.8 million people in Gaza were relocated to the south part of Gaza. 1.8 million happens to be the population of Santa Clara County. So it's as though you were to give every single man, woman, and child in Santa Clara County 24 hours to get up and move to Gilroy. Second, the United Nations shelters, and I'm quoting, say that there is an epidemic of diarrhea, acute respiratory infections, skin infections, lice, disease outbreaks, including hepatitis, and it is caused by a lack of clean drinking water, no proper
Thank you. Sharat, followed by Marley. Is Marley here? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Yes, my name is Dr. Sharat Lin. I'm an expert in the Middle East, and I wanted to point out that what happened on October 7th was not the beginning, that what Hamas did was, however unfortunate, was a response to what Israel has been doing for 75 years, and in Gaza, the occupation of 17 years. And so for that reason, I urge you to move a motion for a ceasefire, because it affects us here in Santa Clara, because what we need to do is to reduce the tension, reduce the hate, and the way to reduce the hate is to have peace. The first step to peace is a ceasefire. Thank you.
Thank you. Marley, Chalet, Tall, Rawl, Sarit Hod Warshawski, Sarit, Eileen Suku Yeter, and if Yulia Bosky can queue up if you're here, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Eileen. I'm a teacher in Santa Clara, and I have been living in Santa Clara more than 2 decades. And I just want to make it clear that we are here to share what the human feels. It's a huge pain. Children, women, we all see how they suffer. Doesn't matter when you say that there is no phone in here. You're not gonna believe. Just somebody says that there's no phone here. It's a pain over there. They don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have hospitals and nothing. I'm only asking you as a human being to put yourself into their position, put your family into their position, and then please add that ceasefire into your agenda and think fairly as much as you can. And remember that we need to be together in this case to provide the ceasefire because you have the power.
Thank you. Eulaya, Eagle Bloom, Shlomit Bloom, Salma Mustafa, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Salma Mustafa, resident and voter in Santa Clara, born and raised. Some of us here are still arguing that we don't involve in international affairs. Then pass a resolution that prevent our tax dollars from funding international governments, especially ones that have violated international laws and committed war crimes, including the use of white phosphorus. Check Amnesty International. How can you say that this is not a municipal issue when $1,677,000 of our tax money in Santa Clara go to Israel to fund this genocide? People are also trying to make this about taking sides. This is not about Muslim or Jews or Israel or Hamas. We're here speaking about 25,000 massacred in 2 months. We're speaking about a siege of food, water, fuel, electricity, and medicine. We're speaking about what checks off every single one of the 5 actions that describe a genocide under the United Nations Office of Genocide Prevention. So don't make this about taking sides. We're not asking you to do much. We're asking you to be human. Ceasefire resolution.
Thank you. Sumaya here. Jernati. Sumaya Jernati. And then followed by Guled Roble. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Let's go to as it is, and this is a pure genocide. Please, let's call for the resolution. Ceasefire, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Guled Roble, followed by Fadi Subah Al-Jada. Welcome, sir.
Hello, my name is Goulet. I'm a father of 5 children. All my children grow up in here. I was looking at statistics with my kids, and in Ukraine, I think in 2 years, do you know how many people died? 10,000. In Gaza, just 2 months, you're talking about more than 20,000. So the question the kids ask me, how could Holocaust happen? How did South Africa went through all this? And we see our own eyes that thing is happening again. So I really, really encourage you guys to look at your own resource. You guys all professionals. You have your own resources. Look at their eyes. I mean, at least if they would have water and medical and doctors can come and visit them and take care of the wound, and they could even bury their own children, that would be even, I could even think of it. But everything has been blocked. No water, nothing. I mean, what else can we do? Thank you.
Thank you. Fadi?
Good evening again. As of December 9th, the death toll has reached 23,000 people plus. Based on the math and the frequency of the deaths reported by legitimate sources, between now and next council meeting, it is projected that we will reach about 2,350 more deaths. So just keep that in mind. I ask that you add the ceasefire resolution on your agenda for next week. All United Nations members, with the exception of one abstained, the United States uses their veto power to prevent the ceasefire resolution. We are sitting in a room that is recognized by 3 countries on my right-hand side, which all voted for a ceasefire resolution. Why can't we? We got Portugal, Japan, and Ireland. All voted for these resolutions, and we are not doing it. I don't understand why. If other cities within this state pass the resolution, such as Berkeley, so can you. And last but not least, I do urge you to please review your core values, because none of the core values prevent you from advocating for such resolution.
Thank you. Adam? Welcome.
Thank you. So I heard a lot of people saying not to get involved, but what I would say is that's actually the least we can do. Oakland, Richmond, Seattle, those are just a few cities that did support the ceasefire. What we say when we say ceasefire is we don't want another Iraq. So if we can go back in time and actually call for a ceasefire in Iraq, I'm pretty sure the majority of us would have done that. We want to tell Santa Clara that we are against the war. We also want Santa Clara and our leaders to tell the world that we are against the war happening in Gaza. So just think of the babies being killed as your own. Supporting ceasefire is basically supporting humanity, supporting food, water for everyone there, a lot of who are starving, a lot of people who have been blockaded for a long time. Supporting ceasefire is supporting the kids and stopping the murders happening. Thank you.
Thank you. David Ovadia? Daniel Toller? And Jamal, if you're here, you can queue up.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh, hello. Hello, my name is Daniel Toller. I was born and raised here in the Silicon Valley in California. I've come to ask you not to push the ceasefire resolution. In my opinion, Hamas had said that they would repeat the October massacre, 7 massacre again and again and again until Israel is destroyed. They're not willing to hold by a ceasefire, and therefore us calling for a ceasefire would not be effectual because you need both sides to support it, and Hamas wants to destroy Israel and perhaps even all the Jews. So therefore, I would ask you, and this is not just my opinion, this is also the opinion of the leadership of the Democratic Party, people like President Biden and also Bernie Sanders. So I would hope that you would kind of defer to their judgment and that you would not push the ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronit Belson? Ronit? Jamal? Ahmad Kamara? And after Ahmad, if Mohammed Adad is here, please, you can queue up. Mohammed, if you're here. Welcome back, sir. It's a long road down that
It's a long road, and we keep
alleyway,
sitting back
isn't
there,
it?
right? So that's where you get the fuel view.
Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, I've heard a lot of talk about the city council not getting involved. In some ways, I think that's an insult to your intelligence and your humanity. It doesn't take a human being to know that 8,000 babies getting killed is wrong. It doesn't take intelligence. You don't need an intelligence committee to tell you that 20,000 people killed in a month is wrong. It doesn't take that long, right? That's one. I am originally from West Africa. Back in the 90s, we watched 1 million people get killed in Rwanda. The US didn't get involved because we said, what? It's not in our interest. The city council can issue a statement like other city council did to make it a point that, hey, silence is not a solution. Humanity is universal. All lives matters.
Thank you. Mohammed Adad? Diana Sherman? Nisar Ali? Nisar? Jody? Following Jody, if Konstantin is here?
Thank you very much. I understand it is late, and we are almost at the breakfast
Are
time.
you Konstantin?
Sorry? Nisar Ali. My name is Nisar Ali.
Oh, Nisar Ali. Okay. Thank you.
I hear some say that it is international matter or foreign policy matter. We, after World War II, said never again. And yet we see the genocide being committed by the same people who were the victim of that genocide earlier. I'm amazed at some calling for war instead of peace and ceasefire. Calling for ceasefire is not calling for war. I urge you to stand on the right side of the history and call for genocide to stop. How can bombing hospitals, mosques, churches indiscriminately and targeting mosques, churches, refugee camps, schools, blocking electricity, water, medicine be called a defense? Please call for peace and call for ceasefire. It is the only human thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Jody, come forward, please, followed by Konstantin. If you're here, you can queue up. Welcome.
Hello. I haven't been at a meeting this late in a long time. Good morning, everyone, and happy Hanukkah. My name is Jody Muirhead. I am a member of Santa Clara Unified School District Governing Board. Of course, I'm not speaking for them. I'm a mother. I've lived in Santa Clara almost all my life. And this community is my community as well as it is your community. And the thing is, you've gotten hours and hours of public comment about something that hasn't even been put on your agenda yet. This is a divisive issue that you have no standing in. Nothing will come of passing a resolution around a ceasefire. In the school district, we're committed to preventing any bullying and hate. And this is the type of thing that will cause that to happen. We stand strong against anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and other forms of hate speech. And I hope you'll respect that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Konstantin, followed by Marwa and Shifa, if you're here. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Constantine. I'm a homeowner and father in Santa Clara. There are a few angles I can speak from. I can echo the self-evident fact that there are enough local issues for this council to address before we dedicate the finite bandwidth of this body to trying to coalesce the deeply divided voices of our community into a supposedly unified statement on a foreign nation's response to an invasion. I can point out the ethical depravity of demanding that those tasked with safeguarding the well-being of children, women, and seniors who were taken hostage and are held under deplorable conditions in captivity be forcibly restrained from trying to return them to safety. But as the City Council is a political body, probably the most relevant thing I can say is that the role of this council is to be representative, not of the loudest or most numerous voices in this room tonight, but of the majority of people in our city. And the people of Santa Clara stand firmly against our elected government calling to kneecap Israel in its campaign to free its civilian hostages and eradicate the existential threat of Hamas. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say, after Jody H. online, we're going to cut it off. City Clerk? I don't see anybody's hand up after that because it's of the lateness of the hour. Marwa? Is this Marwa?
Yes, good evening, good morning.
Welcome.
So I am asking you to have a resolution for ceasefire, please, because ceasefire is not taking sides. Not calling for ceasefire is taking sides. When you have an oppressor and you have a victim and you insist, okay, we have victims from both sides, but we have to put numbers because numbers do not lie. So when you have someone who has access to nuclear weapon, to tanks, to everything, and the others, they have homemade rockets, and you want to equate the both sides, and you want to say that, okay, no, let's continue the fight, let's continue the war. So you are taking sides, and yes, some people are going to say this is local, and you are not an expert, and you shouldn't be voting for something like this. But I disagree, because you are still representative for us, and we are here trusting you to do the right thing.
Thank you. Shifa?
Yeah.
Shifa?
Yes. My name is Shifa, and I've been a Santa Clara resident my whole life. I'm very surprised with the stance of not wanting to get involved in a, quote, foreign issue, that we should not care about an event happening 1,000 miles away. I feel that is a heartless stance, and I can't imagine living a life where we can ignore outright suffering and pain. We do not live in a bubble. We live in a globe that is interconnected. This is reflected by our diverse community. I feel pain and hurt for what is happening in Palestine. Israeli residents are free to go back to Israel or even flee if they wish. This right is not afforded for the people of Palestine who are still refugees around the world. Not passing a ceasefire resolution is partaking in a political stance. Silence is a political stance. If we keep silent, we are showing the world that we support the continued genocide of the Palestinian people, and we will be ashamed of our cowardice years down the line. Speaking out does make a change. Please support the passing of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Peace for all. You're online. Peace for all. Please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Peace for all. There you go.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much. My name is Peace for All, and I just wanted to correct one of the speakers. Berkeley did not even introduce this resolution, so they never passed it. Have you all seen bodies of burned babies, burned families bundled together, women raped to the point of being broken inside and legs twisted? I'm scared to look at all these images, and I don't want any of these images to be a repeat in the future. I also don't want to see images of ruined homes and dead children. In order for us to achieve peace, Hamas must surrender and return hostages. A ceasefire resolution puts Israel and Gaza under a great threat. Jews, Israeli, and Palestinians deserve to be free of terrorists. Please watch Whisperers of Palestine documentaries. These poor people are suffocated. Hamas takes their food, takes their water, their lives. Hamas destroyed Gaza. We need to get a resolution to...
Thank you. Thank you. Zeev, go ahead, Zeev. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Perfect. Thank you. Dear council members, my name is Zeev, and I'm a citizen here of Santa Clara. Our city has become unsafe for Jews, and as such, I ask you not to bring the topic of ceasefire for city council discussions, which would only make things worse. Santa Clara is a city in the United States, and as such, there should be no place for national foreign politics discussions here. Every life lost is a tragedy and a world lost. But the war Israel is waging is against Hamas, not against Gaza and not the Palestinians. Hamas is a terrorist organization recognized by the US, and if they put down their arms tomorrow, there would be peace. But a ceasefire won't help the Palestinians, which Hamas is exploiting by taking their international donations, the construction equipment that could have been used to build Gaza, prevents access to humanitarian aid, and uses children as human shields, forcing civilian casualties and hiding in hospitals, schools, and religious institutes. A ceasefire without dismantling Hamas and returning the kidnapped will only serve to justify and rationalize terrorism experienced by Palestinians and Israelis alike, which Hamas leaders have vowed to do again and again and again.
Thank you. Fadi, go ahead, Fadi. Unmute yourself. There you go. Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Fadi Skake, and I was born here in Santa Clara. I urgently seek your support for a crucial ceasefire resolution at the December 19th council meeting. The indiscriminate bombings by one of the most powerful militaries in the world are terrorizing my family in Gaza City. My parents, Abidallah and Zahra, were Santa Clara residents for over 10 years. After Israel's blockade of water, food, and medicine, my mother and diabetic father were unable to escape. On November 18th, Israeli tanks surrounded my parents' home, leveling it and killing my father. Israeli soldiers shot my father while waving a white flag holding an American passport. His final cries for mercy still haunts me, and the war on Gaza has destroyed my family and took my father, a Santa Clara resident. I live in constant terror for my parents' safety. My mother desperately needs to be rescued from Gaza, and this cannot happen without a ceasefire, given her safe passage to the border. She is alone, bereaved, terrified, and stranded on the north side. I urge you to imagine if this was your mother. Please do what you can to bring my mother back safely to Santa Clara. Thank you for your attention and consideration.
Thank you. South Bay JVP. South Bay JVP.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Yes, I'm using an organizational Zoom, but my
Okay.
name is Greenfield. And I'm calling on you to add a ceasefire resolution to the agenda of the next council meeting. As a Jewish resident of Santa Clara County, I urge you to pressure Congress to demand a permanent and immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages, unrestricted entry of humanitarian assistance, restoration of food, water, electricity, medical supplies, and protection of innocent civilians. This issue is critical for Santa Clara because the violence happening in Gaza is made possible by our tax dollars. The U.S. government uses our money to arm the Israeli military that has already killed more than 18,000 people in Gaza since October 9th, including at least 7,000 children, some of them family members of your constituents. Our tax money should be used to build infrastructure and support healthcare and education, not to kill other human beings.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone online that I'm going down for the next 10 speakers, and then we are concluding public presentations after Jody H. So Diana, go ahead, Diana. There you go.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I just want to point out, I've been listening for a few hours. Look at how much emotion and pain we see on both sides. Clearly, everybody have deep convictions, and there's so much emotion and so much pain. And that is the reason I think you should not be considering the resolution, because this conflict is so complex and so complicated. If you accept this resolution, that would mean that you are disregarding so many of the comments tonight, and it is not the place of the city government to comment on that. And again, you have so much Jewish constituency. You need to work on providing safe environment, education, worrying about anti-Semitism in schools and everywhere else in Santa Clara.
Thank you. Mahmoud, go ahead, please, Mahmoud. You're muted. There you go.
Hello, yes. Thank you for this opportunity. Basically, what I was trying to say, U.S. is already involved in the war. It's selling arms and weapons to Israel. Asking the city of Santa Clara and the politicians of Santa Clara to stay doing nothing is the same as asking USA to do nothing for the natives to protect Israel from them, the Jewish people. Using them like mass weapons, like wild phosphorus, targeting hospitals, killing more than 23,000 civilians is not like an act of war against Hamas. None of them is Hamas people, and the civilians shouldn't suffer. Israel has tried the same recipe multiple times, and it didn't fix the situation. We ask you to end the genocide that's currently happening and help protecting the civilians as a human before being a politician. Please don't do what is right. It won't divide the community. Being unjust, unfair would divide the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Irene? Go ahead, Irene. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Hi, my name is Irene.
Imagine being the type of person to oppose a ceasefire which serves to halt the bloodshed of innocent women, men, and children. The heartbreaking images that have flooded our screens cannot be ignored. Imagine yourself, your loved ones, in the place of the Gazans. Since October 7th, in Gaza alone, over 1.8 million Palestinians have been displaced, over 20,000 murdered, including 9,000 children, over 6,000 under the rubble, over 25,000 children are now orphaned. It's clear that Hamas is not the target. We see narcissistic traits in Israel as it blames Hamas for the atrocities Israel carries out against Palestinians in past massacres. All accusations are not supported with any evidence. Upon research and fact checking, you will see that it's not complicated. The baby in the oven comes from Deir Yassin massacre in 1948. The pregnant woman with her stomach cut open was during Sabra and Shatila massacre in 1982. I ask for you to propose a resolution that calls for immediate and permanent.
Thank you. Hadley, go ahead, Hadley. Hadley. Johansson. There you go. Unmute. There you go.
Hi, thank you. My name is Hadley Johansson, and I was born and raised in Santa Clara. I still live in Santa Clara, and I work in Santa Clara. I urge the council to add a ceasefire resolution to December 19th meeting agenda. I encourage the city of Santa Clara to join the ranks of many other Bay Area cities with calling for a ceasefire in occupied Palestine. Tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians have been murdered, and a ceasefire today means lives saved tomorrow, including the Israeli hostages. I know many of you in this room do not think it is the place of an American city such as Santa Clara to pass such a resolution or engage in foreign policy, quote, but I disagree. Our government chooses to fund the Israeli occupation and genocide instead of allocating that money across the country for social services, money that could be bettering our own community here in Santa Clara. And regardless, we owe each other no matter where we are from. Thank you.
Thank you. Asfia, I'm sorry. It's hard to see. Asfia.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
Respected Mayor Gilmore and council members, my name is Asfia. It takes multiple drops to create an ocean, and I'm calling on you to be that very critical drop in the ocean of peace and humanity. I'm calling on you, respected people, to add a ceasefire resolution to the agenda on December 19th. Rohanna, our local, not international representative, has repeatedly called for a ceasefire. City of Davis, again local, not foreign, has also passed a resolution for ceasefires today. Let's have Santa Clara also add its voice, calling for the same, and not ignore the pleas of thousands of its constituents and the Palestinians. Santa Clara's Arab and Muslim communities have never been this vulnerable as we are currently. Since October 7th, the Council of American and Islamic Relations has reported a 200% increase in the reported hate incidents, bullying, targeting of Muslims. Wadia, a 7-year-old boy in Chicago, was stabbed. 3 men in Vermont were shot. And as recent as December 7th, peaceful pro-Palestinian protesters were threatened. This is not just a Muslim issue, not just a Jewish issue.
Thank you. Monica? Go ahead, Monica. There you go. Hello.
Hi, so my name is Monica. I'm a Santa Clara resident, and I felt the need to speak because as a Black American, I must speak up. After all, I know what it's like to be the target of discrimination, and I know how lonely it feels, especially when people are radio silent about it. So I'm seeing this happen to the Jewish community. I'm really heartbroken to hear otherwise educated people rationalizing October 7th, and I'd like to ask the council to say no to a resolution on the war. So don't get me wrong, I'm really heartbroken about the war. I don't want to minimize the pain of those who are suffering. If I believed that this resolution would stop the death and suffering, I'd be all for it. But despite good intentions, these resolutions often become a vehicle for misinformation, simplification of the region's complex history, and more. And also, let's be real, a resolution will not stop the war and save lives. We all know that it would be one-sided because Hamas is not interested in a ceasefire. So in calling for a one-sided ceasefire, we're basically telling Israel to leave itself to be it.
Thank you. Heather? Go ahead, Heather. There you go.
Mayor and council members, my name is Heather, and I'm a student living and studying in Santa Clara.
While I'm not Palestinian, I want to ensure that our taxpayer money is going towards the betterment of our world and our communities rather than harming and killing Palestinians. Therefore, I'm calling on you to support adding a ceasefire resolution to the agenda of the next council meeting on December 19th. We must send a strong statement to others in the city as well as beyond that we do not support genocide. It is up to both of us, both voters and council members, to join hands with our communities to end the violence and genocide in Gaza. Passing a resolution like this also proves that we stand against hate, including Islamophobia and anti-Arab hate. From the Palestinian child who was killed by their landlord in Chicago in October, to the 3 Palestinian college students shot in Vermont, to the countless other racist actions towards Arab and Palestinian people that are not being reported or publicized, we must condemn these actions and sentiments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohammed? Go ahead, Mohammed.
Dear Mayor and Council Member, my name is Mohammed and a father of 6 years older daughter. I live in Santa Clara for 6 years and I support a critical ceasefire resolution in next council meeting. This is not a religious matter, it's about occupation. Just this year, before October 7th, 500 Palestinians killed by Israeli government in West Bank, where there is no Hamas. So there was no ceasefire before October 7th. On December 6th, in a rare event in the United Nations history, Secretary General invoked Article 99 to declare that situation and catastrophe in Gaza threats the maintenance of international peace and security. We are in the global world where there is no boundaries and Santa Clara shouldn't be isolated. You are our leaders and I trust your personal integrity to do the right thing and stand on the right side of history for children of Gaza. Because if it's not you, then who? And if not now, then when? Ceasefire now. Thank you.
Thank you. Parker? Go ahead, Parker.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Parker, I'm a Santa Clara resident, and I'm calling on you today to support the ceasefire resolution. I want to tell you a little bit about the history. So Hamas rose to power in 2006, 17 years ago in an election. And since then, Israel has imposed a complete blockade over the region, restricting people from coming and going and restricting essential goods like food, water, and electricity. These actions effectively make Gaza an open-air prison. As a result, since 2006, nearly 1 million children have been born under this occupation, and they've never been able to leave, and they have never known what it's like to be free of Israel's occupation. All of us calling for a ceasefire today, we condemn anti-Semitism, we condemn Islamophobia, but most of all, we condemn genocide. We do not support our tax dollars being used to directly fund the brutal massacre and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. The blood is on our hands, we are complicit, and it is our responsibility to speak up. I believe that no child or person should be harassed for their religion or culture. I believe that at the same time, we have a responsibility to speak out and take action, especially when our money is contributing to genocide. Thank you. Ceasefire.
Thank you. And our last speaker for the evening will be Jody H. Jody, go ahead, please.
Hey y'all, good morning. Thank you, Mayor Gilmore and respectable council members. My name is Jody Huang. I'm a Taiwanese American born and raised in Santa Clara and a doctor of physical therapy. I recognize y'all have had a long day. However, the Palestinians have had a long 75 years. I'm sorry to hear about this council's work drama as well. I wish you all harmony. If we can't work together, we can't make anything work. Change does not happen overnight, but it begins with one person such as yourself. For example, the Black Lives Matter movement was created in 2013. In 2020, the George Floyd protests took place in Minnesota. And on June 2020, the Santa Clara City Supervisors unanimously voted to declare racism a public health crisis and support BLM. Critical reforms were made, such as the 8 can't wait policy, and the police chokehold was banned. It is simple and necessary to take a stand at any level of government, at your level of government, so critical reforms can be made to protect our Palestinian and Jewish friends. Cease period fire period, 2 words meaning end war. Is calling for peace complex? Make it make sense. Consider adding a ceasefire resolution on the December 19th agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I do, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning and we've been going for 10 hours and our staff has been here for even longer than that. So I want to thank everybody for making public presentations. We have an item on our agenda for next Tuesday. It's a resolution for United Against Hate. That's going to be on the agenda and I'm sure we'll have a lot of discussion on that. We can't take any action on public presentations, but we will, I can imagine, be discussing this next Tuesday as well underneath our United Against Hate item on the agenda. So again, I want to thank everyone. I know it's a very emotional issue. Just hearing about some of the things is just so disturbing and really awful. So thank you all for sharing. We tried to get as many people as we could to speak tonight. We had over 3 hours of public presentation, so we wanted to make sure that the majority of you were heard this evening. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this evening. So I'm going to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is reports of members, special committees, and council member 030 requests. Do we have any? I don't see any. So city manager report. City manager, do you have anything to say?
No report.
All right, I have one adjournment this evening. I'd like to ask the council that we adjourn this meeting in memory of Rose Kowalik. Rose Kowalik was born July 8th, 1923 in Western Pennsylvania, spending her childhood and young adulthood there. She married Ted Kowalik Sr. in 1945. Rose and her entire family moved to Santa Clara in 1970 when her son, Ted Kowalik, was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. She lived in Santa Clara for over 53 years, where she raised 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren. Rose celebrated her 100th birthday on July 8th with a special party held on July 15th at the Element Hotel in Santa Clara, recognizing this momentous occasion. Rose passed away peacefully on November 13th, 2023. Rose Kowalik inspired all who knew her to live life to its fullest, taking advantage of every opportunity to embark on a new journey and every moment to celebrate life. Could I please have a motion to adjourn this meeting in honor of Rose Kowalik?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hardy and second by Vice Mayor Park to adjourn the meeting in Rose's honor.
Councilmember Watanabe.
Yes.
Councilmember Shahal.
Yes.
Councilmember Hardy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Park.
Yes.
Councilmember Jane.
Yes.
Councilmember Becker.
Yes.
Mayor Gilmore.
Yes, and that passes unanimously. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.